Well, hello, Bob Dendry here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, The Long Game. So, last episode, we got a few airports on the map, which is the first time I think I've ever used airports in my builds for YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed that. This week, we're going to start off by continuing to work on these airport builds by integrating them a bit better with our public transport networks, both sort of suburban, buses and things like that, as well as our more intercity train lines. So let's jump in and get going. Before we get onto that though, we do need to deal with possibly a bit of an existential crisis for our company, and that is the fact that we are simply not making profit. Now, we'd probably been running at a loss for quite a while, to be honest. However, when everything broke down here at Dayton, it really did push us over the edge. It really drew all of our cash out and has left us in a pretty pathetic situation, if I'm going to be honest. So what we really need to be looking at right now is how all of these lines are performing. Are there issues that are causing them to perform badly? Have we simply oversubscribed, add too many trains to what is a service that really doesn't require it? And I'm noticing straight up our heavy bulk trains in the sort of Wichita, Fullerton area are looking absolutely terrible. That indicates to me that maybe the network might be broken there. And that is going to put us in a lot of pain if we can't fix that cheaply or really for free, given that we don't have any money on hand at all. So let's pop over there and see what the issue might be. And yep, as I thought, the traffic is not moving at all. That is really bad for us because this is, or has the capability to be, a massive moneymaker, and it is simply not making money. Part of the problem is we put a signal here, which I keep trying to avoid doing, but I keep forgetting. Basically, that is blocking our trains. If we turn you around, you're not even going to go back because you are not sort of far enough along here. So we've got problems. We need to move someone to allow our trains to start flowing correctly again. Because everyone is blocking everyone. Like so. Once again, that means we shouldn't have had a signal here either. The question is, can we get you far enough out that you will turn around and go back into the station? And I would suggest probably not. I believe they need to be sort of halfway out of the station to be able to turn around and go back. Oh, excellent. Okay, and you will actually go back. This could fix the problem if we are careful about it. But yeah, most of the problem here is we have signal spacing that is not big enough to allow our trains to, go through without blocking other movements. That's what's happened over here, and it's also happened at the other end of the line at our steel mill at San Francisco as well. I'm also noticing I've not configured any of these lines to use the second platforms either. So this is just really all around a big fail for me, and it has, if we're not lucky here, it could be the end of our company. Luckily, we're starting to see services running again, and hopefully that should trickle back to our steel mill station, and once it gets there, hopefully that means that things will sort of unblock and start flowing again. While that's adjusting itself and hopefully fixing it up, I'm noticing as well the Cross River Freight Trip train is also a big loser for us, but also a big winner. It seems to go between being our highest earning and our highest losing, and that probably tells us that we've got too many trains running here. If we look at our cargo, can we expand this bad boy? Unfortunately we can't, but we can sort of have a scroll. And yeah, we're definitely not taking up all the capacity we've got available, not even close. So what we could potentially look to do here is to get rid of maybe 2 or 3 of these trains. That should reduce our cost base a little bit, and hopefully is not going to really affect the service we're providing. So we might sell off maybe 2 to 3 of these old double header ones. We could even maybe switch those on to replace some older trains that we potentially still need to get rid of anyway. Maybe we've got our GP38s that are taking oil sand. We could switch maybe 3 of these trains to replace those, which, fingers crossed, should resolve the issue a little bit. So let's go ahead and manage these vehicles. So we'll take these 3 here. And what I'm going to try and do, and this doesn't always work, we're going to try and just move them onto the new line and see if that works. And it does work. That is good. So then what we'll do is we will go manage line. Correction. We will manage vehicles. We're going to sell off. We're going to go and edit these. And what I'm actually going to do is shift our pairs of locos onto our existing trains. That way it's sort of cheating a little bit, I guess, but they will sort of migrate across to those new trains wherever they've gone. Lost them. Hang on. There they are. Okay. We'll also replace our old open wagons with some more modern ones as well, which should hopefully increase our speed capability as well if we're lucky. Of course, we can't actually do that because we have no money, idiot. So instead, I'm just going to switch our trains over and sell off the old open wagons, or the old well cars that we've got instead. Still, even if we're just selling back those old well cars, we're still getting a little bit of money back for them, $23-ish million. And of course, we're going to be saving on the running costs as well. So hopefully this should ease things up a little tiny bit. And I just want to check out how the traffic is now flowing on our coal and iron ore lines. And it looks like it's doing all right now. Traffic's actually moving, which is more than what we could say before. And yeah, it looks like there's no sort of big holdups happening here. Maybe you. Other than that, everything appears to be flowing okay. So hopefully we should be back in black soon. Also, if we have a look at the Roseville to Lafayette Silver Line, we are seeing that we probably have a few too many trucks loading up here, I think. I don't think we necessarily need that many, considering we don't have any sort of backup in silver waiting to go out. A lot of these guys are only, less than or about 20% full. So we might look to maybe even half as many vehicles as we've got on here, and we might add them onto full load as well so that they do actually fully utilize the capacity they have available. I did go a bit nuts by putting 50 vehicles on here. I don't know exactly what I was thinking. But that should save us a little bit as well in terms of both the amount we'll make back by selling and also the running costs we'll be saving. Now, we are still not seeing a significant improvement in our financials. So if we go back to our lines view, we can see that the crossover freight troop train is still not performing very well. So we could potentially migrate some more trains onto some of our other lines to remove some of that running cost. And crucially, I think a lot of our passenger lines are not doing great at the moment either. So we might want to maybe try and pull one train off each of these lines and see if we can get some improvement there. Starting with the Peoria to Roseville via New York line. This already has a reasonably high frequency. This line already has a reasonably low frequency, and if we check out our finances, we can see that it's really been struggling for a number of years. So what we might do here is to actually scrap a couple of these trains. They're starting to get quite old, so we're actually going to scrap 2 of these. This is not going to be a popular move because this is going to blow out our frequency probably above 10 minutes, which is not fantastic, but realistically, we just can't keep up with what we're, promising at this point because we don't have the money. And luckily, our frequency is staying under 10 minutes. So we're still, not completely screwing over the communities that support us. Next, we've got the Millennium line, Dude, Where's Our House line, and the HS3 lines, which are all relatively new. HS3 is actually not looking too bad at the moment. It is only just losing money. But the Millennium line specifically is looking pretty bad. Dude, Where's Our House line, not quite as bad, but still not fantastic. And they're not really carrying anywhere near as many passengers as they should be to break even. And that's sort of on us, to be honest. We were probably a little bit, I would say, optimistic in terms of how these lines would do. What we're going to do, I'm not going to sell trains on these lines, but we're actually going to store them. Stored trains do still cost a bit of money, but not as much as trains that are in operation. And given how empty these trains are, I don't think we're going to be missing out on the capacity that we might lose by having these trains stored. So we'll store them for a bit. Potentially we might put them on a new line or move them around when things improve, but at the moment they are surplus to our requirements. So we're just going to have to see what trains we can get to the depot, because not all of them will actually go, I don't think. We've got 1 to the depot and 2 to the depot there, so that should hopefully increase the profitability of this line. And we've still got a decent frequency as well, so that's not necessarily terrible how we're doing with that. And we're going to do the same with the Dude, Where's Our House line as well. This one isn't looking as bad either. It's losing a tad over 10 million. But once again, it's not really using all the capacity that we need to use to break even. So we're going to say, let's send 2 trains, but no. We might struggle here to get these to go to the depot. Oh no, we've got 1 on its way and 2. Cool. Okay, so that should hopefully improve things a little bit. And finally, Cross River Freight Trip Train. We are going to remove some of these older, I would say, trains that we're running here and move them onto some lines to replace, once again, some old GP38s, which should be long gone by now, but they're not. So we've got our Santa Rosa to LA Steel line, which is still using the old GP38s. So we'll switch 2 of these trains onto that line, and that should assist, I think, with keeping the SR to LA Steel line profitable, and should start to increase the profit on the Cross River Trip Train as well. As it turns out, the HS3 was going to end up on this list eventually, so yeah, we might store a couple of these as well, which we're still going to have more trains running on it than our other 2 lines, so I guess there's that. And I'm really struggling to see a situation where the inner line works for us at this point. Of course, the inner line was a popular way to get from Dayton to LA and return without having to go all the way around, which is what the Cross River passenger train does. And the HS3 is sort of usurped that a little bit. Obviously, it's a completely different route going via, Lakewood and Richmond, etc., rather than going via Salem and El Paso. But it sort of makes the inner line not really palatable as a long journey or a long distance trip anymore. So it sort of becomes more of a I guess a bit of a regional line. So we probably need to treat it as such and reduce the frequency even further. So we're running at a frequency of 13 minutes at the moment, and we're running, 4 trains on it right now. I think we're going to have to reduce that to 2, to be honest. I'm just not seeing a way for this line to work for us. And yes, people are going to be quite unhappy about it. But it is what it is. Catch the HS3 if you want quick, speedy train trips. Otherwise, you need to accept that the frequency isn't quite going to be as good on this line. What I'm seeing looking at our Everett Airport line is that it's actually filling up a lot, which I didn't expect, but like, yeah, there's no more passengers getting on those trains. What I might try temporarily is putting one of our A-Seller Express trains that is currently resting, shall we say, at LA, onto that line to see if it can pick up some of the slack there. I don't know if this will work long term, but I think it's a good response to the demand we have on that line. Okay, so we seem to have gotten to a reasonably stable financial position. We're still having a bit of bother. We are still going into the red occasionally, but we seem to be doing okay. And we've achieved that relatively okayness by basically rationalizing a lot of our services, removing excess rolling stock, shifting rolling stock from underperforming services to services that are performing well but are at capacity. And we seem to be doing okay. So now I actually want to get into some building because it's what I enjoy doing. I don't enjoy sitting here cutting services like I've done for the last hour. So hopefully we'll have enough money to do some building. So over here at Roseville, we have our airport that is not really hooked up to anything. There's still a few people who want to take it, considering there's like 20 or less houses that actually hook up to it. So I think we've done pretty well there. But what I want to do is twofold. I want to extend our Dayton to Roseville passenger line to terminate at the airport. And that should be a relatively easy change we can make. And hopefully the lines as we've got them here will support it. I think we should be okay to do that, but I just need to check and make sure. And secondly, I just want to expand the public transport in this city a little bit and obviously get the I mean, to be honest, a lot of passengers are not serviced in this town at all at this point. So having some boost of bus services, especially on the left side of town from where we're looking right now, hopefully will have, good impacts on the community at large. So over at Roseville, I had originally planned to extend the Dayton to Roseville passenger line through to our airport. As you can see, I have tried to do that. And I was going to tunnel under the city to make that happen. Unfortunately, our grades just don't support us having a passenger line there. So instead, I think what we're going to do, we're actually going to add some trams or some light rail to this city to facilitate movement from the station through to the airport, and potentially we might also convert one of our bus lines to run as light rail as well. So we'll set this up as a sort of a terminus type thing. You might get multiple platforms and things like that. The question is, how are we going to get over to our station? We can probably have a tram stop literally right out the front here, potentially. And it might be time for us to consider moving our freight from the CBD out to sort of the periphery somewhere. Potentially over on this side, maybe. But I'm not sure we want to do that just yet. But there's definitely some space we can recover here. We can potentially even add some additional platforms in as well. And we've already got bus stops there, so we can reuse those. In fact, we've already got a bus stop here as well that we can maybe reuse as well. Yeah, I think we'll be able to do that. And our trams, we'll just loop around here. We'll get rid of those. And we're going to need to build a tram depot, which I think we might actually stick out here near our airport as well. All right, so let's get our line set up. In fact, we might just reuse the existing stops. I'm going to remove Green Street. And then return. Cool. Roseville Airport via Washington Street. And we'll get a few pieces of stock purchased. We'll go with the CAF Urbos. Maybe just 3 to start with, because our tram services don't tend to actually do too well. They more or less just generally act as feeders to our other services. But hopefully we'll start to see some demand to get to the airport. I have a feeling we will. I'm not too concerned about this. And what we might as well do is run another light rail service just up this road here, sort of from one side of the town to the other. I'm actually going to have closer stop distance on this route because that should allow us to get more people onto the tram from the surrounding streets. And we are starting to see a little bit of demand for our airport line, which is good to see. And of course, that does indicate that there is demand for people to get there, which is excellent and is really, to be honest, what we wanted to see here. And there is one more tram line I want to get set up, and it's going to go from the bottom of the city down here. It's going to sort of go up to the top and then link into our via Washington Street line and head on to the airport. And on to Peoria to get some transport set up for its airport as well. Got a lot of passengers waiting to use the station at Peoria sidings. And unfortunately, we're not going to have a light rail running for this one. It is a smaller town, and I don't think there's really just the support to have a light rail running. So we are going to run airport bus services here, which I think still we should be fine. And what we in fact might do, geez, Peoria number 3 is the laziest bus service I think I've ever set up. But we can extend that to run through to the airport. No issues there whatsoever. And we probably want to avoid this road here, which is obviously quite congested as well. And we can also replace these vehicles as well while we're at it. Here we go. We actually have a really great opportunity to expand transport services in this town in general, but we have some challenges. this being one of them. So we have, for some reason, people coming through the town to just go onto the other side of the... am I right in saying that's what's happening? Really mixture, people that are going through the town on the motorway to go down to Laredo as well. So is there an option that we could build a little short motorway to get to Laredo? Maybe. It might be a good idea. Because, I mean, look at this. Crazy. Come back to them in a sec. We'll build another bus route over to the airport, and then we'll come back and have a look at that. Because we've got this big area here that's sort of come into Peria and just like splattered out this mountain. But they've got no coverage whatsoever. So we need to help them out in that regard. And we can probably have a service starting here in the new lowlands that were once the highlands. And they can go across this little bit, another bit that's just sort of been splattered out. A bit all over the place, a bit all around the world. Just like these road designs, I guess. Yeah, these road designs are not great, are they? And yeah, it'll lock in here, head a rack around and then back. And yeah, just thinking about getting people through to Laredo. Where is our destinations layer? Yeah, we've got a lot of people wanting to get to Laredo. As we can see, you've got massive, massive bold lines here that are showing that. And they do sort of spread out a little bit through the city, but then once we're back sort of on the other side of our station, it starts to get quite heavy again. And that's probably one of the big causes of a lot of the backed up traffic we've got in a lot of these areas. So it might be a good shout for us to get a new motorway, just a sort of a short expressway even, that cuts through to Laredo. Where are our destinations in Laredo itself? They're fairly spread out. Everyone's going sort of everywhere. So potentially here might be a good end of the motorway. So we'll sort of plan for that to be where it starts. I did not mean to build that. That was just a random click. And we will get probably just a 2-lane, I think. And not a tram track either. And basically we're going to need to, I'm going to say pop over the top, but we can probably pop under, I think. Let's see. Okay, perfect. And we just need to bridge over the top of this section of our railway. This is a 2-way highway. Oh, it is. You idiot. It's fine. Easy to fix that. And we'll drop this down to 2-lane, and we got a 4-lane, right? No, we don't. That's okay. That should be okay regardless. In fact, what we might do is have this reduced down. Upgrade not possible. Okay. Clearly doesn't like reducing down to 1 lane. That's okay. That's fine then. All right. And let's build the parallel section. An intersection or crossover. Okay. What do you mean bridge pillar collision? What the hell? There's no bridge pillars here. I'm genuinely bamboozled by what the issue is here. Yeah, I've got no idea what we're colliding with, so I might need to manually lay this because it's clearly not going to work. As much as that pains me. This looks like absolute crap, and I am sorry about that. It's not my choice. I would have it looking awesome if I could just copy what I already had. It's definitely not my worst creation. It could be worse. Could be worse. Not by much, but hey, it's possible. What I might potentially look at doing is converting these two roads into sort of a couplet, and have one-way roads in either direction, so we can just join our motorway directly onto those. And I might get rid of this road and have an actual cross street. So hopefully this will get some more people directly to where they want to go. Not sure if we'll start to see people using the ramps yet. Probably not. Or maybe we will if we force them to. By doing that. Oh, hang on. No. I did it again, didn't I? I built a two-way road rather than a one-way one. We're starting to see a little bit of use of it, but that could just be because we are forcing people to use it. What about the other end? Are people hopping on it there yet? Yes, actually. Just one at this point, but hey, one is better than none. And we can finally get back to Everett to get our public transport in there as well. So another opportunity to link up a city that we've actually, I think we're doing okay with our public transport in Everett, though it has fallen behind a little bit. But I think we've got a good spine, really, that we can use and just sort of upgrade it to service the airport. So line 2, very creative, is going to be Everett Airport, Ororot, via Forest Street. And we're just going to add just an additional stop in the airport itself. Forest Street is only in one direction, so we do need to... we've got Valley Street just there, actually, so... We'll do it. But we probably don't actually need it, though. I did attempt to take you on a ride along on the Everett Airport line tonight, but unfortunately, look, the game just... and my system just aren't up to the rigors of ride-alongs now with how big and bloated the map is, how much stuff we put down. And once again, it's a testament to the fact this game is not optimized properly. And I think that's probably going to be it for the ride-alongs in this series. I just don't think the game's going to stand up to it anymore. We've probably only got maybe 1 or 2 more episodes left in it. We'll then be maybe taking a few weeks off while we prepare for the next series. Keep in mind, I'm going to be taking a bit of time off in December and January as I'm getting married, so potentially it might actually run into that, and it might be early next year when the new Transport Fever 2 series comes out, but there's still going to be stuff for you to look at. We do still have the Metal Gear series that will be ongoing until it's finished. I've also started doing City Skylines 2, which you'll see a link to the playlist for that series up on your screen shortly. And if you've enjoyed Transport Fever 2, please help me out and go and have a look at that series, because yes, it's a game that potentially the optimization similar to Transport Fever 2 isn't quite there yet, but I'm still super excited about it and I'm having a lot of fun. If you've enjoyed this video though, please make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You'll find links to all my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patron, Caleb. Caleb, thank you so much for helping to make this content possible with your donation. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Transport Fever 2 The Long Game. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.